Welcome everyone to Training Tuesday for December 6th, 2022. I'm using some footage that I took from last week's Corn Snake Corral training session and video that I put together on the Hart County Kentucky corn snakes. It features our Hart County Kentucky corn snake. His name is Talon. He came from Rad Reptiles and he was hatched in 2017. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to incorporate targeting along with a foraging exercise. Talon has been with me for 3 years and I've only ever done target training with him, so this will be his first foraging exercise. Okay, I have 4 food items set up in here for him. He has a reptilink, 2 hopper mice, and 2 fuzzy mice. So obviously I can't do math. It's a good thing that I'm in behavior science and not some field of mathematics, because that is not indeed 4 food items, but 5. So I'm gonna put him in here and see if he finds them. Surprisingly, he found the first food item right away, which was a fuzzy mouse or a hopper mouse. It was some type of mouse. I think that was actually just by chance. I think when I put him in there, it was really close to his face and it just happened to be right in front of him and he found it right away. And he eats that one right away. Then he seems a little bit confused and we hit a roadblock. And when I say we hit a roadblock, he just kind of paused for a really long time. He was intermittently tongue flicking, but he really didn't seem to understand that he was supposed to be actively looking for food. I don't think he realized that there were food items hidden in there for him to find. And that's just because he's never done this exercise before. I have always target trained him and I've always fed him from tongs. He seemed really attracted to this water dish. I'm sure that's because it had a heavy smell on it of everything that I had thawed out. I took all the items, I threw them in that water dish and I thawed them in warm water. And then I put the water dish in there as part of the foraging exercise. And usually my advanced learners and my experienced foragers, they investigate the scent and they'll go to the things that I've thawed food in, because Rodney, my bull snake, knows that sometimes I actually leave water and food in the things I thaw the rodents in, and she'll go under the water and retrieve them. I had dumped the water out, but there was some residue in there, and he was just really attracted to that. And then he just seemed a little lost. So I decided to incorporate target training with the foraging exercise. And you can see that he responded to the sight of the target right away. And what I'm trying to do here is have him follow the target over to where I have some of the prey items hidden. And I would have fed him off tongs by now if we were doing a regular exercise. So he was losing focus a little bit, probably confused as to why he hadn't been given reinforcement yet for orienting towards and following the target. I got him re-engaged with it, and I did get him to follow the target over to this hole where there was a reptilink along with either a hopper mouse or a large fuzzy mouse. They were both in that same hole together. He's really engaged with the target at first. I just hold it there quietly, and then he discovers the food items inside. He does end up pulling those out. I think he went for the rodent, but he must have gotten somehow both of the items snagged in his mouth at once, because they both end up out of that hole. He eats the rodent, and then I end up picking up the reptilink and moving it back over to that puzzle feeder. And then I engage him with the target again. And that's what you're going to see here next. So I had moved the reptilink and I had put a rodent from elsewhere in this exercise in the same spot that he found the other one, to try to make it a little bit easier for him and just to repeat the same exercise that we just did. except this time, instead of having the reptilink and the rodent in the same hole, I put the reptilink out and the rodent in the hole. And I'm holding the target right next to the rodent. He'd gotten the last rodent out of there, but he goes for the reptilink, which is fine. I ultimately wanted him to eat everything, but this was just a really interesting exercise for me and for him. I could tell that he was following the target and that he was more engaged with the target and understood what the target meant much more than he was catching on to the fact that he had to look around and find the food on his own. But again, this is his very first time foraging, not being fed from tongs, finding his own food and having to get it without me giving it to him. He does find the last item on his own, which is the rodent that's in that hole right there. I took the target away and I'm just watching, and he goes back to this hole where, again, he's been successful in and around this hole now for almost all of the food items except the first one he found, and he does find this one on his own and he eats it. I predict that if I do another foraging exercise with him in the future, that he will remember this experience. He will know what it means when I put him in this situation, and he will do better the next time.